They are not your enemies, Banner. Try to think!
Marvel Studios might be getting ready to bring in the most twisted version of the Hulk yet, Maestro. Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus thinks Maestro could show up soon, and it seems like he could be the next step in Hulk's evolution. How and when that'll happen is still a mystery, and it's unclear if the multiverse will be involved. Last time we saw Bruce Banner, his arm had healed after Avengers Endgame. He had been helping train his cousin, Jennifer Walters, and even met his son Scar. Unfortunately, Scar's debut in the She-Hulk Attorney-at-Law finale didn't exactly win over fans, and honestly, I get why. If Maestro is really coming, it's probably part of the long-talked-about World War Hulk or World War Hulk's project, which might now be a part of Marvel Studios' next saga. In an interview with Variety, Ruffalo was asked how much longer he'd keep playing Bruce Banner Hulk. He said he wasn't sure, admitting he's always surprised he's still in the role. He joked that he and former Bruce Banner actor Ed Norton think of the Hulk as our generation's Hamlet, and that everyone will eventually have a shot at it. Ruffalo added, "I'll probably do it as long as Marvel Studios will have me, if people are interested, and I can bring something interesting to it for myself and the fans, but I have no idea." Now 57, Ruffalo has been in the MCU since The Avengers in 2012, and the idea of aging while still playing the role made him think about older versions of Hulk. While he didn't mention Maestro specifically, it's clear he's got the character in mind. Ruffalo mentioned that if you look at the comics, there are old versions of the Hulk. He said, "I'm like, okay, the 67-year-old Hulk. That would be interesting. If all of us are still here making movies and there's a world that allows for us to do that anymore." He also reflected on the uncertain future, adding, "With what we're living in and heading towards, the future feels more precarious than any other time. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I hope I'm still around to do it." So who's this Maestro Hulk that Ruffalo wants to play? The Maestro first showed up as the main villain in the Incredible Hulk Future Imperfect #1 and 2, created by Peter David and George Pérez. In this storyline, a nuclear war wipes out most of humanity. AIM and MODOK capture the Hulk and other heroes with radiation powers to try to recreate their immunity. Fast forward about 100 years, and the Hulk, now with Bruce Banner's intelligence, escapes and decides to take control of rebuilding the world. He heads to America, but is disappointed by the damage, like the Hoover Dam and Mount Rushmore being destroyed. He eventually finds some survivors under Washington, and they're ruled by a character called the Maestro, who the Hulk recognizes as Hercules. After a brief fight with Hercules, the Hulk learns that Hercules has shifted his focus to ruling humanity and seeking sparring matches or other pleasures rather than saving the world. Despite initially not caring much about helping people, since they caused the apocalypse, the Hulk is reminded by his old friend Rick Jones that most of the people close to him were just regular humans. This pushes him to form an army, the Dogs of War, to go up against Hercules. Ultimately, Hercules defeats the Hulk, but instead of killing him, he makes the Hulk part of his entourage. The Hulk, wanting to make things right, disappeared for a few years before returning with Vapor, a member of the UFOs. Together, they fatally poison Hercules, but Hulk soon turns on Vapor. He freezes her, shatters her into pieces, and buries them in a large area so she can't regenerate. While trying to publicly cremate Hercules' body, the hero comes back to life, sent by Hades to seek revenge. Despite his efforts, Hercules is too strong, and even the Dogs of War can't stop him. At one point, a weapon designed by Forge years earlier to kill the Hulk is unleashed by one of Rick Jones's former rebels. The Hulk avoids the weapon, and his ally the Minister ends up using it to finally kill Hercules. Hulk then confronts Rick about his failed attempt to kill him, but finds that Rick and his artifacts are gone. Rick later contacts Hulk remotely, comparing him to his father before trying to kill him with a bomb. The Hulk survives the explosion. The Maestro developed a movement called post-apocalyptic existence, aiming to unite humanity under a single ruler, himself. He expanded his domain beyond dystopia to places like Connecticut and the underground community under Washington, D.C. However, the community escaped and destroyed their home to defy him. Maestro also teamed up with Dr. Doom to take down AIM and his old team, the Pantheon, as they were the only groups left that could challenge their plans to rule the world. Once they eliminated AIM and the Pantheon, Maestro and Doom turned on each other, leading to a fight that ended with Doom retreating. Overwhelmed by the loss and the radiation from the nuclear fallout, the Hulk became more powerful and took on the title of Maestro, gaining even greater strength. An older Rick Jones met Proteus, a reality-hopping mutant who had possessed the body of an alternate version of Hulk from the year 2099. Proteus intended to take over the Maestro's body, and Rick, unaware of his plan, gave him a weapon created by Forge that could potentially kill the Maestro. But the plan failed when Proteus was warned by the Exiles, who were chasing him. Proteus ended up possessing a new host and escaping, breaking the Maestro's neck during the process. Years later, the Maestro fully recovered and crossed paths with the time-traveling Genis-Vell and Spider-Man 2099. Manipulated by the villain Thanatos, the three fought. However, Genis-Vell and Spider-Man 2099 returned to their time without consequences for the Maestro, as the elderly Rick used his ability to wield Thor's hammer Mjolnir to defeat Thanatos. The rebels, using Dr. Doom's time machine, bring the Professor Hulk from the past in hopes that he can defeat the Maestro. While Hulk lands some effective blows, the Maestro's strength, experience, and knowledge of Hulk's strategies make him overpower Hulk, ultimately breaking his neck. However, Hulk isn't as hurt as he seems. While the Maestro tries to convince him to join his side, Hulk secretly plans an attack. The Maestro is finally defeated when Hulk lures him back to the rebel base, where he throws Rick Jones into Wolverine's skeleton. Using Doom's time machine, Hulk sends the Maestro back to Ground Zero, the site of the atomic gamma bomb test, where the Hulk was originally created. There, Maestro dies at the exact moment the Hulk is born. Later, Hulk learns that his homing sense for Ground Zero is actually drawn to the Maestro's spirit, and the Maestro has been absorbing gamma radiation from him whenever he returns to the site. Maestro eventually re-emerges in a weakened state, only to be helped by Asgardian rock trolls, who provide him with the Destroyer armor. He tries to use the armor against Hulk, but Hulk manages to trap his soul inside the armor and forces the Maestro back into his weakened body. The Maestro is last seen buried under a rock slide with the trolls. After Banner is shot in the head, an attempt to treat his brain damage with Extremis upgrades Hulk to the persona of Doc Green, a smarter version of the Hulk. Green embarks on a mission to cure other gamma mutations, but he starts having visions of the Maestro. As Doc Green contemplates the possibility of becoming his future dark self, he notices a part of him enjoys eliminating his rivals. Recognizing the danger of his dark side, Green decides to accept the loss of his intelligence as Extremis fades, leaving a cure with She-Hulk in case he goes too far. Now, as for future cinematic outings for this Hulk, David, the creator of the Maestro, expressed back in 2019 that he hoped the introduction of Professor Hulk in Avengers Endgame would lead to a future Imperfect adaptation, saying at the time, "Now I'm hoping that Marvel Studios winds up doing Future Imperfect, which I think would be freaking awesome. I think Future Imperfect would make a fantastic Hulk movie." More recently, Ruffalo hinted that World War Hulk could also be in the cards, thanks to She-Hulk Attorney at Law. He mentioned, 5 years from now, the opportunity for a Hulk appearance could totally morph into anything, whatever's pertinent at the time. I almost see him going back to Berserker Hulk or World War Hulk. It could go anywhere. Well, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this and other exciting upcoming movies. We'll see you next time.